Welcome back. My name's Guy, and right now I'm in the middle of building a curved front end table. If you haven't seen the previous episodes of how I got to this point, you can always click over here and there's some links. This time I'm going to show you how I built the lower shelf, the upper divider, how I did the joinery for all this, the glue up, and also how I cut the first panel that's going to sit in the front like this. Well, I need to start making the bottom shelf for this, and the bottom is going to be made out of 1/2 inch maple, and I need to measure between these two, and it's 20 3/8. I want to cut some pieces that are about 20 1/4 just to give myself a little bit of wiggle room side to side. Well, I've got two pieces here. They're both cut to the 20 1/4 inches, which I mentioned. I struck a center line down this. Now what I need to do is take this. I need to use the same jig I did before, and actually I'm going to tape it to the bottom of this. I've marked the center line. I just need to mark up that center line, trace around here, cut away the excess, tape it on the bottom, and then again pattern out the piece itself. I need to cut this notch out here, and I do the same to the other side. I've got the piece in here, and I've got a little bit of slop up here in front, which is exactly what I wanted. I've got a spring clamp in there holding it about in place where it's going to be. Again, I need to be able to move this around a little bit, plus I need to be able to plan for the expansion and contraction of this. It's March right now, so I'm going to cut a groove in this on the other side, or the inside of this, that's about 3/8 of an inch deep, so this can expand into here. I want to be able also to put this shelf in after the piece is complete, so I need a little bit of slop. I'm hoping this will all work out. So now that I've got that measurement, that's 14 inches all the way to the back. So I need to make this 13 7/8 of an inch. I'm just going to give myself an 1/8 inch there. Well, here's the front, and here's the second piece, and I've already edge jointed that, so I'm just going to line it up on the sides. I take my tape measure and measure back 13 7/8 of an inch. That means this board needs to be 6 5/16. So I'll just cut that over on the table saw, and then I'll glue this up. So I've got that groove cut in the bottom, and again, I've left myself a lot of slack here. I need to be able to put this in while the cabinet's together. Let's see if I can get that in. All right. So that's exactly what I want. I want to give myself movement here. It's going to come up about this far. Now that I've got the bottom shelf fitted, I need to start thinking about the top divider. Now this line right here this is the same 17/32 of an inch inset for the thickness of the door. What this line here that's 4 1/4 inches down, and that's the opening for the drawer. So what I need to do is take some material. Now this is going to be maple also, 3/4 inch stock. Between here and the other leg is about 19 inches, give or take. So I need to cut a piece to length, and I need to cut the front using the same template that I did before over on the router. Well, here's the top divider. It's maple, it's 3/4 of an inch, and it's too long. It won't fit in between there. That's by design. I need to do the glue up on this piece first and then fit this in there. So I have to make some special considerations to how I'm going to get this in here after the piece is glued up. So what I've got going on here is I have the two legs ganged up. They're perfectly flush on the top. This line right here going across represents the top of the divider. These two lines here represent the inset for the doors again. And this line is a slot where I'm actually cutting some dominoes that go in there. So I've got this all clamped down on my bench. I'm just going to put that up there pretty darn close anyways. I'm going to take a square and I'm going to make sure that this block that I'm going to use to guide the domino is perfectly square with that line. Now that I've got that all figured out, I can just line up my mark on the lines I drew up and make the plunge. Now I've got those first two cut, my plan is to slide in the divider from the back. So actually I need to take out the rest of this in the middle here, and that'll give me a slot going from the back towards the front. Well, after I've got the mating domino slot cut in the upper divider, I'm just going to put one of these dominoes in here, and this is a specially sanded one so they come in and out pretty easy. But the whole idea here is that once the piece is assembled, I'll be able to go in from the inside and slide these in, and it'll give me a certain measure of adjustability back and forth so I can make sure that I hit those doors just right. So what this domino slot is for, again, is another domino is going to go in here, and then another piece is going to go here. So once this piece is pushed inside from the back, I can add this, which are going to be the supports for the drawer. I've got the face frame glued up, and it's perfectly dead nuts square. Now I expect it so with these big aluminum angle blocks in here. I used hide glue on this mainly because the joints are really tight on here, and I didn't want to put PVA on them and have them, the wood fibers swell up. I really wanted a nice easy assembly. I'm through with difficult glue ups. So I'm going to let this sit overnight, and now I'm going to start doing the back of the frame. Well, I've got the back assembly glued up now, and it's nice and square. I didn't have any more of those aluminum angles or I would have put them on here, but I got lucky, played around with the clamps a little bit and pressure, and I came out with a nice square glue up. So I'm going to let this sit overnight along with this, but in the meantime I do need to do some pre-finishing, and that's for the panel that's going to go in the sides. So this part of the globe was pretty uneventful. Everything is really, really nice and square. There's a couple spots where I'm going to have to flush these up on the front. That's not a big deal. I was expecting that. Inside the cabinet, I measured across the diagonals, and it's about a 1/16 of an inch off. I'm not going to go chasing that. I want to sit in the clamps for 2 or 3 hours or so. So after a couple passes on my shooting board on the ends of these, this fits in here real nice. Not too tight, not too loose. And if you remember, I cut dominoes in the domino slots in the ends of these. I'm going to put a couple in there. And these are, remember I cut these slots before, so this is actually going to come in from the back into those slots like that. That's real nice. I want to make sure that these are square to the legs. That's perfect. And the drawer opening. Again, perfect. So now that I've got that done, I can continue to work on the doors. Well, I've reached a point where I have to separate these doors from this panel. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the jig that I used to actually form the door. Now, I still have my center lines. I did mark this center line here, the seam of the veneer, so you can see it a little bit easier, and I could see it a little bit easier. So I just need to line up my center mark. I need to measure this height, which is roughly 3 7/8, which is good. I need to modify this jig a little bit before I cut this door. Now I've got these rails glued on there, I need to line the panel back up, put it right on the center line on both sides, and then I'm going to tape it down to the jig. Hopefully it won't move around. Well, after I have this taped down, I just want to measure to make sure that I'm square. 11 and a half, 11 and a half, 11 and a half, and 11 and a half. So I know that this line here is parallel with the rails of this jig. So now that I know that, I'm going to put a piece of tape right down the center here, because I definitely do not want any tear out at this point. And this will help prevent that. So I've got the blade raised up high enough to cut through this panel. I've got the fence set over at 11 7/16, so that 11 and a half goes right up the middle of the blade, and I can't put it off any longer. So here I go. I'm going to put that up the fence and make the cut. I've got the tape off and I've got a nice clean cut, which is very helpful. Yep, very nice. So that's what the plies look like, or what the door panel looks like with those plies after they've been curved. Kind of cool, homemade plywood. Well, that's it for now. Next time I'm going to continue to work on the curved doors for this. I need to cut them down a size, and I need to do the edge banding on them. I'm going to build a drawer that's going to have a curved face that's going to be veneered. And if you have any questions or comments about this video or any other videos, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. And as always, if you haven't yet, please subscribe. It really does mean a lot to me. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.